Good evening. Welcome back to Tropical Chatter, your go-to source for online information regarding the 2017 hurricane season. Let's jump right into it, as tonight we have Category 5 Hurricane Maria moving through the Western Caribbean on a collision course with Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Last night, absolutely devastated the island of Dominica. It ramped quickly up to a Category 5. As soon as I released my video, I talked about how I already thought it was a Category 5. National Hurricane Center then immediately updated it to a Category 5. Right now we have a strengthening storm. It is deepening rather rapidly still. It's down at 913 millibars. This storm is ferocious. It is taking a west-northwest track that'll take it right into Puerto Rico. Landfall in Puerto Rico looks likely tomorrow morning between 8 and 11 a.m. This is going to be the strongest storm to ever make landfall in Puerto Rico. As you can see, Puerto Rico is right here. U.S. Virgin Islands in this area here. It is on a collision course for both of these. It looks like it's going to be on the eastern half of Puerto Rico. San Juan may get in the eye of a Category 4 or 5 hurricane. After it crosses onto Puerto Rico, it is likely to weaken some by the time it gets to San Juan, but you can expect Category 4 wind gusts. This is going to be an extremely devastating storm system. Many will be without power for weeks, if not months. It's just going to be absolutely devastating to the country. Dominican Republic, same for you. It's going to be on your north. It's going to be to the north of DR. But you're going to be getting in the hurricane force wind gusts. The wind field, it has expanded a bit. Core winds of Category 5 strength only do extend out about 25 to 35 miles. But they are expanding a bit as this storm deepens even more. We cannot rule out the winds going even higher than it currently has at 165 miles per hour. This is a monster. This is just as strong pressure-wise as Irma ever was. The winds may catch up to Irma. Cannot rule that out. This area has plenty of tropical cyclone heat potential. The waters are plenty warm, and there is nothing that will stop this from either maintaining strength or even strengthening before landfall in Puerto Rico. The only saving grace to drop this down, possibly a category, is an eye wall replacement cycle. It does have an outer eye wall right now, but the inner eye wall is showing no signs of weakening. Which is not good. So we're going to switch over to the Hurricane Hunters aircraft data. They're in the system right now. They are finding a deepening system. So when they first got in there this afternoon, it was 920 millibars. And after 2 passes, it's down to 913 millibars. It is showing no signs of weakening. It is deepening. The pressure is getting lower. And this is not a good situation for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I just can't stress enough how devastating this storm is going to be. Hugo, it's going to make Hugo look like a joke. This will be the most intense storm to ever make landfall in Puerto Rico in the history of their country, or their state, or of the island. Whatever you want to call it, it's going to be the strongest system to ever make landfall there. I want to go to... I'll refresh this if I have time at the end. We can see if the Hurricane Hunters are making another pass by then. Doesn't seem too likely because they just got out of the eye wall not too long ago. But we will come back to that if there's time at the end. This is Hurricane Jose. It's still a Category 1 hurricane according to the National Hurricane Center. The center is somewhere in this area here. It has markedly improved its appearance since yesterday. Yesterday it was an ugly storm if you watched the video. Now it has a nice CDO around it. It's still an ugly system. I was down on beaches in the Jersey Shore. We're only gusting into the low to mid 30s. The Cape Cod area and New England and the eastern tip of Long Island could get sustained tropical storm force gusts today, or sustained tropical storm force winds later tonight and overnight. Nothing to worry about. Coastal flooding guidance has come down a bit on the New Jersey Shore. It was showing moderate flood risk. Now we are down to just below moderate or borderline moderate. So there's going to be some water in the streets in these areas here, but nothing that a normal nor'easter does not bring. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Jose right now. We will talk about its impact on track of Maria because it plays a major key in the eventual track of Hurricane Maria after Puerto Rico and the southeast Bahamas. So let's move on to the next clip here, the next frame. And we have the 48-hour outlook and discussion out 5 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane force winds yesterday only extended out 25 miles. Now they're out to 35 miles. Tropical storm force winds now extend out 140 miles. This system is expanding a bit as it deepens, as it strengthens. It's a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane. U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, 6 to 9 foot storm surge. Highest storm surge is going to occur immediately along the coast. Up to 25 inches of rain in these areas. It's just going to be a brutal day for you guys. Several tornadoes are possible. Huge waves. Wave run up on top of the storm surge is going to cause tremendous amounts of damage. It's just terrible. Just terrible for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. After dealing with Irma not too long ago, I mean, Irma only brushed you guys, but this is not going to be a brush. This is going to be a landfall from a Category 5 hurricane, and it's going to do tremendous amounts of damage. So now we're going to go over, I should have came a little out of place here, but this is Hurricane Jose's track. Just going to loop around. I got a little bit out of order here on the clips, but Jose is going to loop around here and likely either, just dissolve, get kicked in this way, or if it goes out this way a little bit quicker, it does set up the potential for Maria to track much closer to the southeast or mid-Atlantic coast. So let's get rid of this stuff here, get over to the track from the National Hurricane Center of Hurricane Maria right now. This is just out at 5 p.m. and here it is. They have it, central Puerto Rico landfall. I believe it's going to be a little bit more to the east, on the eastern edge of Puerto Rico, tracking up right over San Juan more than likely. They're having a major hurricane. This is going to be something interesting here, because I'll pull up the tropical cyclone heat potential on the sea surface map in a second, sea surface temperature map in a second. But the southeast Bahamas, you need to keep a close eye on this. Hurricane warnings are now up along the northeastern tip of Dominican Republic and watches along the tip of Haiti. It's a major system, widespread impacts, rain, wind, surge, tornadoes, all the above from Hurricane Maria. As of 5 p.m., it is 165 mile an hour sustained winds with a 916 millibar pressure. But as we talked about, the hurricane hunters did find pressures lower than that at 913 millibars, so that it is still strengthening. And a matter of fact, they're coming through for another pass. It just happened. So by the time this video is nearing its end, we should have another drop zone air pressure reading, and I will bring that back. So let's go over to the European model. Has a pretty substantial change in track from yesterday. If you remember yesterday, I broke it down how Jose leaves an opening for Maria to come up and just go straight out to sea. Today's run is a little bit interesting, a little bit different, and I want to break that down right now. So here we are, 24 hours out. You can see Hurricane Jose up here off the New Jersey coast. You got Major Hurricane Maria down here. Leftover of Lee right here. It's nothing to worry about. Lee is dead. So if we put this into motion a couple frames, we are now 24 hours out. So we will go 48 hours out. Just north of DR. Jose still staying around, wandering around off the northeast coast. 72 hours out, 96. We're at 5 days now. This is where it gets interesting. Hurricane Jose is still right back off the NJ coast, with Major Hurricane Maria down due south of it pretty much. It's an interesting setup here. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a little dance for Howard effect. It's going to send Jose back towards the coast, and yesterday this slingshotted Maria northeast out to sea. And while that is still a very possible scenario, this shows it a little bit different in today's 12Z European run. So let's put this into motion a couple more frames, and this is past 5 days, so this is going to change a lot. Changed a tremendous amount since yesterday afternoon. but it shows Jose getting pushed to the coast a lot quicker, which then pulls Maria a lot closer to the United States coastline. So now we're 6-7 days out already. But I will put this on here, a possibility. This is not a forecast, but look how close a major hurricane Maria is to the mid-Atlantic coast on this run. Yesterday had it way out here. Last night, in this area here also. So all the possibilities are on the table, like I talked about yesterday, from, I'd say, the Carolinas to New England is in the possible area for this storm. If Jose does not, get either kicked inland quicker or just die out here, Marie could go out to sea very easily, or it could be pushed farther west and north towards the coastline of the United States. This is up for debate. This is not set in stone. It's going to change numerous times over the next week or so. Pay attention. Just keep an eye on it. Everybody should have the hurricane, plan in effect. It is well in the hurricane season. As you can see what happened with Harvey and Irma, you need to have it in place. There's no need not to have it in place. So now we're going to go to the GFS, see what it shows. This is the 18Z. I'm going to get a couple more frames. I'm going to refresh this for a second and put this into motion. This is hot off the press, not even fully loaded yet. So I'm seeing it with you for the first time. 12 hours out, 18 to 24 hours out, making landfall in Puerto Rico. That brings it, this is a couple hours old, even though it's coming out right now. 8 to 10, 11, 12 a.m. or noon tomorrow in Puerto Rico. You can see Jose still wandering off the northeast coast, right off Cape Cod. Brushes the southeast Bahamas as a strong Category 3 or 4 storm. Possibly still Cat 5. Cannot rule that out. Sea surface temperatures do not indicate it'll maintain Category 5 strength after Puerto Rico, though. So this is where it's going to get interesting. Let's see how it plays this out. We're 90 hours out, closing in on, we're at day 5 right now. Jose is basically dead. It is nothing but a remnant low here. But as you can see, it's still causing enough of an influence where the high pressure cannot build back over the area that's going to push Maria west. It should, we're going to see what happens here, but it should track a little bit north and northeast off the coast. From what I'm looking at here, let's put a couple more frames into play here. And it brings it precariously close to the Outer Banks, similar to the European. And yeah, very close to today's European. This is interesting now. It's back-to-back model runs from today showing a similar outcome. Jose dissipating. Well, they get to there in different ways. The Euro sends Jose inland. The GFS dissipates it rather quickly off the northeast coast. Both of them, as I talked about, leaves the opportunity for Maria to come much closer to the United States coastline than we would like. You can't rule out a landfall. You can't rule out an out-to-sea solution here. So things are not set in stone. A lot can change. A lot will change. How much will the islands of Puerto Rico and DR affect the circulation? How many categories will it knock it down? How fast will Jose die out? How fast will the high pressure build back in? Many variables here. This is a fluid situation, and it's going to change many times over the coming days. I want to show you the tropical cyclone heat potential map. This shows pretty much the available energy in the oceans for these hurricanes. As you can see, Maria is somewhere in this area right here. It has plenty of juice in those waters. Not only is the surface warm, but the warm water goes down well into the depths. There's plenty of energy available. But this is what I'm talking about. When you get north of Puerto Rico, this has to be an upwelling from Irma. I haven't checked too much in the past couple days, but this looks like an Irma upwelling. Now, let me see the date this came out. This is the most recent one they have. But this is about, it's 10 days old, so I'm sure these waters have warmed up a bit here north of Puerto Rico. But it's still something we have to consider. Once it crosses Puerto Rico, it's going to be hitting a little bit less of an energy-filled environment. While there's still not going to be many impending factors, this could slow down redevelopment after crossing the island. Category 3 or Category 4 is still likely. But this area here is lacking the heat content that south of Puerto Rico has. After a day or two in those waters, it does, come right back into a much more favorable environment, heat potential wise. So something to keep an eye on here. Might be a bit of a saving grace for the Southeast Bahamas, or, you know. Okay, I found this on the web for lack of spell. Siri is talking to me. That was weird. So we're going to check out the sea surface temperatures also. This map, let me pull it up right now. This is, here we go. And this is still about 10 days old. I don't know why there's no more updated ones, but this is what they have. You can clearly see this area north of Puerto Rico that is a little bit less warm, or a little bit chillier than the surrounding areas. You can see these darker oranges, but just north of Puerto Rico is the light yellow. It's interesting. So the track's going to bring it up something like that. It's going to cross over these waters. Also, the inflow of the hurricane is going to be so close to DR and the hills and mountains of Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic that it's going to get choked off a bit. Irma did a good job of fighting that until it got into the Cuban mountains. We're going to see how this one does. The core is so tightly wound, I don't think it's going to have too much of effect, especially if it's 50 or 100 miles off the coast of Dominican Republic. So a lot can change in a couple days. What is 100% right now is a major hurricane landfall from a Category 5 hurricane in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. This is not going to miss Puerto Rico, folks. This is going to make direct landfall in Puerto Rico as a Category 5 storm, and it is going to do incredible amounts of damage. As I advise the people in Dominica, if you're riding this storm out in Puerto Rico and the center core of these winds comes over your house, the structures are not going to survive. You need to get into the bathrooms or an interior room in your house, cover yourself in mattresses, put helmets on. You need to protect your head and body from debris. The roof could come down, the walls can come in around you. If you cover yourself up in mattresses and pillows, you have a chance to survive. It's not a joke. This storm is not a joke. It's going to kill people, and it's going to kill people at a high rate, sad to say. So before I end this, I'll go back to the Hurricane Hunters data, like I said, to see if they have the drop zone air pressure data filled. And it has not came out yet, but we can pull this up here and see what it's looking like. Let me click that. Okay, here we go. Looks like a non-suspect surface wind, almost 155 knots, about 150 knots. So this still supports an extremely strong Category 5 hurricane. 165 mile-an-hour winds, 100% in this storm. Pressure is down still around 913, 912 millibars. It's an incredibly strong storm. Pressure-wise, as strong as Irma ever got, which is crazy. And the wind field does appear to be expanding. So with that said, I'm going to end this video. We'll have another one either late tonight or tomorrow morning or afternoon. Puerto Rico, may the Lord be with you. Prayers are with you. You're going to get through it. Please take this seriously. Finish up your preps now and seek sturdy structure immediately. All right, guys. Thank you.